Assalamu alaikum. I am Muhammad Tanvir Ahmed. I am back with another video. This video, I will try to show you the process of visitor visa, that is a temporary residence visa and super visa. So let us start. This is the guide to apply for visitor visa, transit visa, and super visa. So let's go through one by one. That is how you will apply, how you will gather the documents, complete the application, pay the fees, submit the application. What happens next? So let's start. Overview is this application package. This package has an instruction guide and forms you need to fill out. Before you apply, use this application guide if you wish to apply for temporary resident visa outside of Canada. So this is the website address. I will try to give the website address in the link. Let me copy the address here. So this is the website address. Actually, I have already saved it. So this is the website address. So who are visitors? Visitors are the persons who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Persons who are not Canadian residents or permanent residents of Canada may require a visa to enter Canada. What is a temporary resident visa? It is also referred to as visitor visa. It is an official document issued by a Canadian visa office that is placed in your passport to show that you have met the requirements for admission to Canada as temporary resident, either a visitor, a student, or a worker. What are the requirements? You must show the officer that you meet the requirements of the IRPA and the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations, and that you will be in Canada for a temporary stay. You must also satisfy an officer that you will leave Canada at the end of your stay, show that you have enough money to maintain yourself and your family members in Canada and to return home, not intend to work or study unless authorized to do so, be law-abiding and have no record of criminal activity, and something like this. So let's go to the next step. Family member definitions. There are a lot of definitions. Who are the spouse, who are the common law partners. I will not go through this. Now, family members must complete their own application forms. However, you may submit your applications together online or at a VAC center, that is Visa Application Center, and use one payment receipt for the total amount. The spouse or common law partner and children must meet all of the requirements for temporary residence in Canada. If you plan to visit or study 6 months or less, you usually do not need medical exam. But if it is more than 6, you will need a medical exam. That is for super visa. So these are general terms. That how often do you give biometrics? Once in 10 years. Most of these are general informations about super visa. The multiple entry super visa allows parents and grandparents to enter Canada multiple times, stay in Canada for a period of up to 2 years on each entry. Applicants who do not normally require a visa to enter Canada must also submit an application to visa office. Who may apply? To apply for a super visa, you must either be the parent or grandparent of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. You cannot include your dependent children in this application. If your spouse or common law partner want to come with you, they need also to submit an application. So the person, that means your father or mother or your relative, can apply for, actually parent or grandparent can apply themselves for the super visa. Now, to apply for super visa, you need to submit an application to a visa office and provide a letter of invitation written and signed by your child or grandchild who is currently residing in Canada. You must also include your host child or host grandchild's family composition. That is, dependents including spouse, how many of them? So first thing is letter of invitation and the family composition. One of the following documents to prove that, next one is one of the following documents to prove that your child or grandchild meets the low income cutoff. Let's see what is the low income cutoff. This is the low income cutoff. For one person, it is around 25,921 CAD. So and so. So if they are 3%, then their income has to be more than this one. Again, the most recent copy of their federal income tax notice of assessment. If your child or grandchild does not have a paper copy of their notice of assessment, they can view their tax returns as well as other personal tax information. So mind it, you have to stay at least 1 year and you have to submit the income tax certificate you have to show, then you can apply for the visa, super visa. One of the following documents to prove, so it is for the child or grandchild. So those PR guys has to state, those guys who are having permanent residence, they at least have to submit one income tax return, and then those documents will be needed. And the most recent copy of child or grandchild's T4 or T1, an original letter from child or grandchild's employer stating their title, job description, and salary, their employment insurance pay stubs, including a letter from an accountant confirming annual income, proof of other sources of income. So one of the following documents to prove. Any of these 3 documents would be enough. The most recent copy of income tax, most recent copy of their T4 or T1, an original letter from their employer. This will also work. So a letter from an employer stating their title, job description, salary. I think this one would be easier because if someone is going to Canada at June, then they have to wait for 1 year for their super visa. So this one would be the better option. It says one of the following documents. So any one of these 4 will be okay. Number 4 is the child or grandchild's employment insurance pay stubs, including a letter from the accountant, proof of sources of income. Okay, then evidence of the parent or grandparent relationship to the citizenship. That is either you are their parent or grandparent or not. Then proof that you have private medical insurance valid for minimum 1 year. Proof that you have private medical insurance for 1 year from Canadian Insurance Company. Okay, so you have to have a private medical insurance for minimum of 1 year. It covers healthcare, hospitalization, provides a minimum coverage of $100,000 and is valid for each entry to Canada. It will be available to review border services. So the private medical insurance has to be valid for minimum 1 year. That is another requirement. So first you get the medical insurance, then you can you have to wait for 1 year and then apply for the super visa. So let me correct another point. Prove that you have private medical insurance valid for a minimum of 1 year. So that means from the date you have 1 year validation for the health insurance. So immediately when you have valid health insurance, then you can apply for super visa, no issue, but its validity has to be 1 year from that date. So these are the 4 informations. Letter of invitation, any one of these following documents. You can use original letter from the employer stating the title, job description, and a salary. And finally, the 3rd one is relationship with the PR candidate, with the permanent resident, and proof that private medical health insurance is available. After you apply, you will also need to undergo a medical examination. So your parents or grandparents for the super visa, they will need to undergo a medical examination and provide proof of the results. You'll be required to appear in person to have your biometric fingerprints and photo taken at a biometric collection service point. There are some visa exempt applicants also. What must my child or grandchild do to meet the LICO minimum? So that's an important thing. Your child or grandchild's income must meet or exceed the minimum necessary cutoff. In the letter of invitation, they must calculate their family size. This factor determines the amount of income required to provide the care and support for you and your spouse, if applicable. How to calculate your family size? Your child or grandchild themselves, their spouse or common partner, their dependent children, any person they may have sponsored previously. They count the number of persons they will be supporting. So they count the number of persons they will be supporting, you and your spouse. They add together the number of the persons covered by step 1 and 2. So total represents the family size. Okay. So let me give you an example. So say you are 3 persons, you, your wife, and your child. So there is 3 persons, and you are going to sponsor your father and mother. So 4 and 5. So you need to earn minimum of 54,000 Canadian dollars. You have to show this income for applying for super visa. See, this point is written clearly. They add together the number of persons covered by step 1 and step 2. Step 1 is his family. Step 2 is count the number of persons they will be supporting, that is you and your spouse. Then they look at the LICO minimum in the income table in this guide to determine if they meet the minimum required for the family size. This is that income table. To demonstrate that they meet the minimum income required, your child or grandchild may include one of the documents listed in the document checklist, IMM 5484. Let's go for IMM 5484. See what does it show for us. Yeah, this is the document checklist, temporary resident visa outside of Canada. And here is the PDF. All the things are quite organized. See, this is the document checklist. You need to submit with your application. Consult the instruction guide to find out if you are required to provide some or all the forms listed in the checklist. Now, I have enclosed the following items. Format list. The following CIC forms must be completed, signed and dated. Application for temporary resident. Family information form must be completed by those aged 18 years or higher. Statutory declaration of common law union. Use of a representative. Authority to release personal information. If any of the required documents listed below are missing, the processing of your application could be delayed. Gather your documents in order of the checklist and check R in each of them. Okay, temporary resident visa. Note, if this application form is completed on a computer, it must be validated to generate the barcode. Family information form. You must complete the family information form listed in the application packet. Statutory declaration. Refer to the responsible visa office for your region. Use of representative. Complete this form only if you use services of a representative, or if you are appointing or cancelling a representative. Authority to release personal information. Complete this form only if you authorize CIC and a Canadian Border Service Agency to release information from your case file to someone other than yourselves. It will also not be needed. Now, here's the document list. Fee payment in an acceptable format. Please ensure to include the application processing fee and, if applicable, the biometric fee. Verify acceptable methods of payment responsible to your region. Note, visa offices do not accept payment receipts from Canadian banks. Okay, a photocopy of the information page of your valid passport and travel documents, which these are the information. There must be one completely blank page other than the last page available in each passport. 2 photos. The photo specifications are given. Proof of financial support. You must include proof that you can support yourself and any family members accompanying you while you are in Canada. That is the employment letter or income tax certificates. Photocopy of your marriage license or certificate. Purpose of travel. Photocopy of your current immigration status. If your country of residence differs from the country of citizenship, you must provide proof of legal status in your country of residence. Minors traveling alone or with one parent must provide custody documents. Any additional documents required by the responsible visa office. So these are the for temporary resident visa. Now let's go for parent and grandparent super visa. Letter of this is for the parent and grandparent super visa checklist. Okay, a letter of invitation from your child or grandchild residing in Canada as a permanent resident. Note, you must also include your host child and host grandchild's family composition. One of the following documents to prove that your child meets the low income cutoff. This is very important. Most recent, one of the following will do. Most recent copy of the notice of assessment, that is income tax assessment. If you do not have a paper copy of your notice of assessment on file, you can view and print your tax returns, as well as other personal tax information using the CRA's My Account online service. Most recent copy of the T4 or T1, or see original letter from employer stating the job title, description, and salary. This will work easily. Proof of sources of income, other incomes can also be possible. Evidence of the parent or grandparent relationship to the citizenship. Proof of private medical coverage for a minimum of 1 year with a Canadian insurance company. Proof of private medical insurance coverage. I'm a little confused about this point. I have to check. I will check and later I will let you know regarding this point. Proof of private medical insurance coverage for a minimum of 1 year with the Canadian. Okay, its validity should be minimum of 1 year. If you have a current health insurance coverage whose validity is 1 year, then it's okay. So this is the summary. Now let me go to that page again. So this is the IMM 5484. So you have to gather the documents as per the checklist. If you're inside Canada, you must use the document checklist. This one is different, IMM 5271. Minors traveling, there are different information as well. Authority to certify varies by province and territory. Certified true copies. To provide, to have a photocopy of a document certified, an authorized person must compare the original document to the photocopy and must print all of the following copies. So there are a lot of informations. Now, complete the application. Filling out the application. The following are the forms that must be filled out and submitted. For application of permanent residence visa, temporary resident visa, family information, document checklist applicants in Canada, statutory declaration, common law union, use of a representative authority to release personal information if applicable. Let me go to 5271. The following are the forms that must be filled out and submitted. You may be required to complete additional supporting documents upon request. Okay. It is a serious offense to give false or misleading information on these forms. The information you provide on your application is subject to verification. So this is 5272. This is 5721. That is document checklist for temporary residence visa. It's quite similar to, okay. It's quite similar to 5484. Application, representatives, photocopy of the proof of payment, photocopy of the information, 2 photos. So all the information are provided in a structured manner. So there are some other notes in this side, some frequently asked questions to fill out the form. So there are some questions also added. So in detail, you can get all the information here. Let me check if there is any further important information here. Background information. To complete your form, once the application is completed, click on Validate button located at the top of the form. This will generate a barcode. If this application form is completed on a computer and printed, you must place the barcode page on the top of the application. Then family, so all the forms information are clearly mentioned here in detail, so you have to go through one by one. I'll share the link to you in description box. After that, step 3 is pay the fees. There are two types of fees. One is application processing fee, and the second one is biometric fee. Use the table below to calculate the total amount of fees to be paid. Visitor visa is 100 Canadian dollar, including super visa per person. Visitor visa per family, one fee per family of 5 or more people. That will be 500 Canadian dollars. Visitor visa, single or multiple entry temporary resident visa per person is 100 Canadian dollars. On the other hand, per family, one fee per family of 5 or more people is 500 CAD. So if you're 5 or more than 5, the fee will be 500 CADs. And transit visa, no fee. Biometric fees is per person 85, and per family 2 or more people 170 CADs. The fees will not be refunded regardless of the final decision. How to pay your application, how to pay fees. To pay your fees, you will need a valid email address, access to printer, a credit card or debit card. Visit the link below and follow the instructions. There is a link given. Go to online payment, follow the online instructions. At the end, click on the button, receipt with the barcode, print 2 copies, attach a copy of the receipt to your completed application. Keep the second copy of the receipt for your records. Do not exit without printing the receipt. The printed receipt is your proof of payment. So if you have paid but hasn't printed, then your money is lost. The only acceptable form of payment is online payment. If you send any other form of payment, IRCC will return your application. So there are some issues written. You can go through. Step 4 is submitting the application. You may send your application to Visa Application Center that serves your area or apply online. If I need to give my biometric fingerprints where I should go outside Canada and the US, Canadian Visa Application Center locations are there around the world. You can give your fingerprint and biometrics there, but only when you're requested. So next thing is what happens next. Submission completion check. Once you have submitted your application, IRCC will check to make sure that you have properly completed and submitted all the required application forms. You have paid the application processing fee. You have sent all the requested supporting documentations. If your application package is incomplete, either they will return to you, or they will not create a file, or they will not create a record. To avoid processing delays, pay your biometric fees at the same time as your application processing fees using the same method of payment. Finally, review for decision. The application will undergo for a detailed review by an officer. The officer will consider all the information and documentation you have provided and will assess it and will decide if an interview is necessary. So, if so, you will be informed of the interview date, time, and place. If your application is refused, any original documents, including your passport, if submitted with your application, will be returned to you with an explanation of why your application was refused. Arrival in Canada. A valid temporary resident visa is not a guarantee of entry to Canada. An officer at the port of entry will decide if you still meet the requirements for admission when you arrive. Parent and grandparent super visa. If you applied for and are issued a parent or grandparent visa, your visitor status is valid for up to 2 years on each entry. So per entry, you can stay 2 years. You must leave Canada on or before the date set by the officer or apply to extend your stay before your status expires. It is your responsibility to maintain valid visitor status. If the stamp on your passport does not have a handwritten date below it, you are allowed to stay for 2 years. If you are issued a visitor record, when you arrive, you are allowed to stay until the expiry date of the documents. What you can do to help processing. There are certain things you can do to help make sure your application is processed as fast as possible. That is, send all documents and information we have asked for with your application, pay your application and biometric fees, provide biometrics as soon as possible. Tell us if your contact information changes, that is mailing address, telephone, or other information has changed. Things that delay the processing: unclear photocopies, verification of information documents, medical condition that may need more tests or consultations, criminal or security problem, consultation is needed with other offices in Canada and abroad. There is a check application status also. So this is the total process. I have gone through from the first to last of the temporary residence and visitor visa and super visa. So hopefully this will help you getting your parents and grandparents and also your family members to Canada. So thank you for today. I hope I haven't taken a lot of time. You should go through this document one by one, and finally, it will help you. So thank you. Goodbye.